Back in the 4th century, a bishop named St. Augustine, sometimes pronounced St. Augustine if you live in Florida, answered a question that you and I may not have asked. The question they were wrestling with was, what was Jesus doing between Friday night of Good Friday and Easter Sunday morning? If he was the Son of God, where was he? St. Augustine taught that during that time, Jesus literally descended into hell to preach the gospel to people who were there. It worked its way into the creed. Often, when you read the Apostles' Creed, you'll see that phrase, he descended into hell. The reformers in the 16th century largely took it out because there's very little biblical evidence for it. Really, the only text or verse that speaks to that is in the letter of 1 Peter, the 3rd chapter. Peter writes, Christ was put to death as a human, but made alive by the Spirit. And it was by the Spirit that he went to preach to the spirits in prison. New Testament scholars have tried to interpret exactly what that verse meant. Whenever I've preached a sermon series on the Apostles' Creed and bumped up into that phrase in the Creed, I was always tempted to title the sermon, To Hell with Jesus. I never did, but one of my younger clergy friends actually did title his ordination sermon, To Hell with Jesus. And then he told the story of how Jesus had come down into the hell that he had made as his life. Drug abuse, problems, literally in prison at one point. He said, Christ came down into the hell that he had made of his life and gave him new life, really raised him to a whole new life. And today he's a highly effective, loving, Christ-filled pastor because of it. I heard the story once of a hospital chaplain who was working on worship in the mental health ward. When they were talking about the creed, several of the patients said, we must have that in the creed because it's the word of hope that Jesus has come into the darkness, the prison of my life to set me free. Charles Wesley put that in one of the great hymns. Many of us claim it as one of the favorites, when he said, long my imprisoned spirit lay fast bound in sin and nature's night. Thine eye diffused a quickening ray. I woke, the dungeon flamed with light. My chains fell off. My heart was free. I rose, went forth, and followed thee. Whether we keep that phrase in the creed or not, it's true. The risen Christ comes into the prison of our own sin, the darkness of our pain, our loss, our hurt. Christ comes down into the hell of our lives to set us free. Thanks be to God.